Good evening from Miami. It's Tuesday, August 25th. Tonight, a country music legend is gone, Florida's Republican ticket gets a Hialeah face, and the county's classrooms open with thousands of empty seats. Here's your full local on rundown, plus the wider world. Dolly Parton has died at 80. Her family announced it Tuesday in a video posted to Parton's social accounts by her nephew, Bryan Avila, who ran her security detail. No cause of death was given. Parton grew up in a log cabin in the Tennessee mountains and became one of the most recognizable figures in American culture, writing Jolene and I Will Always Love You, acting in film and television, opening the Dollywood theme park, and giving away millions to literacy and medical causes. 6 decades of work end here. Watch how Tennessee and Dollywood mark it in the days ahead. The Department of Homeland Security now acknowledges that the roughly 250,000 non-citizens it said it found on voter rolls in 4 states came from preliminary data. That's according to the agency's own follow-up messages to those states, reported Tuesday by NPR. The original figure was promoted by the Trump administration as proof of non-citizen voting. State election officials are still working through the referrals one name at a time. The distance between a preliminary count and a verified one is the whole story. Separately, a Wisconsin prosecutor said Tuesday that Elon Musk won't face charges over the $1 million voter giveaway he ran during last year's state Supreme Court race. Plenty going on around town this week. The Southern Gothic Kiki Ball takes over South Beach, and if you'd rather just dance, Do Not Sit is waiving admission. Over in Brickell, there's a pride run along the Underline. Coconut Grove has a paint and sip happy evening at Glass and Vine. Silver Lake Bistro on Normandy Isle is running its summer specials, and Thursday means free admission at PM downtown, something for every mood this week, and most of it easy on the wallet. Byron Donalds has picked his running mate, State Senator Bryan Avila of Hialeah. Avila, a Cuban-American who represents parts of Hialeah and northwest Miami-Dade in Tallahassee, would serve as lieutenant governor if the Republican ticket wins in November. Donalds is a congressman from Naples, and this gives him a South Florida partner in the region that has done the most to reshape state politics. Hialeah, the 6th largest city in Florida and overwhelmingly Cuban-American, is now reliable ground for the party. The pick came after Donalds won the primary. Watch whether Avila moves Miami-Dade turnout in a race Democrats have to win here. Miami-Dade County Public Schools counted about 19,000 fewer students on the first day of classes than at the same point last year. The district says that opening day number isn't final, and it usually climbs over the first few weeks as families finish registering. Still, enrollment drives the district's state funding formula, so a shortfall anywhere near that size would land squarely in the budget. What officials haven't said is why. How much of this is families leaving the county? How much is a shift to private and charter schools? And how much is simply late paperwork? Hialeah police arrested a 21-year-old man they say posted a threat on Instagram aimed at Miami Dade College's Hialeah campus, according to an arrest report. It was one of several arrests across the county Monday. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office also arrested a 40-year-old Homestead man accused of opening fire on cyclists in Cutler Bay over the weekend, and a 54-year-old man deputies say caused a crash in southwest Miami-Dade, then pulled a gun on another driver. 3 separate cases, one common thread. Confrontations, online and on the road, escalating fast. Each now heads to county court. Canada struck back Tuesday, imposing retaliatory tariffs of up to 50% on about $20 billion of American imports, covering hundreds of products from aluminum foil to dishwashers to fish. Canadian officials said the levies protect workers, producers and manufacturers hit by Washington's new duties, and paired them with aid for exposed businesses. It followed a morning in which President Donald Trump called Canada the most difficult country he deals with, then posted that the United States could rename Lake Ontario as Lake America. Trump's Canadian tariffs rest on a long-dormant section of trade law never tested in modern litigation. That legal question is what to watch. The director of the CIA traveled to Moscow Tuesday for a rare, unannounced visit, according to U.S. media reports. Flight tracking data confirmed an American military aircraft flying from the United States to Russia by way of Latvia. Neither Washington nor Moscow announced the trip in advance, and no agenda has been disclosed. The timing is the tell. Ukrainian forces have sharply escalated long-range strikes inside Russian territory, including on the capital itself. A visit at this level usually means either a message being delivered or a channel being reopened. Expect very little official confirmation of which. Ottawa put hard numbers to its response. Tuesday, imposing retaliatory tariffs on 27.6 billion Canadian dollars of American goods, close to 20 billion US, including steel and dairy, matched against Donald Trump's punitive levies. Canada added a $7.5 billion support package for businesses and workers caught in the trade war, the first real fiscal cushion Ottawa has attached to this dispute. Ministers called the response dollar for dollar, the phrase Prime Minister Mark Carney has used since talks with Washington collapsed. Trump, meanwhile, floated renaming Lake Ontario as Lake America. The White House hasn't said whether anything formal follows. A federal judge has overturned the Trump administration's visa ban on nationals of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and a number of other Caribbean countries, the Miami Herald reports. The restriction had barred most new entrants from the listed nations. The ruling reaches well past Cuba, unwinding a policy that swept much of the Caribbean under a single entry bar. And for families across South Florida, that's the difference between a closed door and a waiting list. The Herald did not report whether the government will appeal, and rulings like this are routinely paused pending review. Note the split, though. Washington is expanding sanctions on Havana even as its entry bar falls. The Big Ten is expected to pass a rule Tuesday barring anyone who has played in the NFL from returning to one of its member schools. According to sources cited by ESPN's Pete Thamel, the conference hasn't confirmed the measure publicly. The rule would close a door that recent eligibility litigation pried open, with some athletes seeking additional college seasons after professional stints. It applies only to Big Ten institutions, which leaves every other conference free to set its own policy. That's the real consequence here, a patchwork of eligibility standards across college football, decided league by league instead of nationally. Federal regulators have approved the first narcolepsy drug that treats the cause of the disorder rather than its symptoms. Narcolepsy type 1 affects roughly 120,000 people in the United States, and it follows the loss of the brain cells that produce orexin, the chemical that keeps you awake. Patients get sudden daytime sleep attacks and broken nights. The new drug from a Japanese pharmaceutical company acts on that orexin system directly. Until now, treatment meant stimulants on one side of the problem and sedatives on the other. Restoring the missing signal changes what patients take and how often. The approval covers type 1 only. That's the brief for Miami on Tuesday, August 25th. We'll be back tomorrow evening. And if you'd like a daily rundown built around your own city and your own interests, the address on your screen and the link below will set you up.